What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to price your services.
Clear out the room, I'm coming through. They want to see what I'm about. Yeah, I got skills.
So today on this video I want to talk to you about how to price your services and the difference between a convenience offer and a results driven offer, and then also another way, a little bonus way of how to think about your profit margins that will affect your monthly retainer. Before I get into it, I just want to say thank you so much for clicking on this video. It really helps out the algorithm, and I'm going to be posting a lot more. But what I want to say to you is just please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, because it will really help the channel grow, and it'll enable me to create some awesome content for you. So without further ado, we're going to jump into my computer and we are going to walk through how to price your services. Right, guys, so here we are. We're inside my MacBook, and as you'll see here, I've got a little bit something written up for us. So what I want to talk to you today is about pricing your services. So you've started your agency, you've started doing your outreach, and you've started booking some calls. So when you get on a call with a client, how do you price your services? Now, this was something that really I struggled with to start with, because switching my mindset between a value-based pricing and the traditional hourly-based pricing was a very big deal for me, because obviously at the time I'd just come from full-time employment. I was a project manager within IT. Everything was booked on time. Even if we dealt with clients, we went on calls, we were told to charge our time to the client on an hourly rate. Now, in the marketing industry, that just doesn't happen. Like, we don't charge by the hour. We charge by the value that we provide to the customer. And this is just a few ways that we can do that and still provide the utmost value while providing a premium service, but within, in a reasonable amount of time. We don't want to be dragging out the service for, 2, 3, 4 weeks when it can be done in 2, 3, 4 days, because the value remains the same. Whether you spend 5 weeks producing a £30,000 campaign, or you spend 5 days creating that campaign, the value is still going to be £30,000. So we don't want to be charging on an hourly basis, because effectively that's going to stop us scaling. It's going to stop us being able to help more businesses and more brands, because we're going to be tied up providing the same service that we could do in a week over the course of a month. So it doesn't make much sense. So you should never ever charge on an hourly basis. Never. Like, just scrap that idea. It's a completely wrong way of thinking. And to be fair, it's more of a traditional billing method that we don't work with anymore. So like I said, your mindset needs to change from the traditional route of charging time for money. In exchange, you want to try and start thinking as providing value for money. And again, like I said, whether that's over a period of 5 days or 5 months, the value is going to remain the same. Now, there are no set rules, like there is no playbook or anything like that on how to charge for your services. It is very personal. And especially in this industry, once you've had a conversation with your prospect and done your discovery phase, you're going to find different bits that you could potentially offer them in order to really, offer the utmost value. So it could be email marketing, it could be Google PPC, it could be Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, Snapchat, could be social media management, it could be blog writing. There are so many different services that you can offer. So every time you speak to someone and do the discovery phase, it may change. But what you want to try and remember is there are two different types of services, two different types of umbrellas of services. So you're going to have a convenience offer and you're going to have a results driven offer. Now, the convenience offer itself it's something like social media management, where you're creating content for a business, you're curating it, you're designing it, and then you're going to schedule it on their behalf. You'll use a software like Hootsuite or Tailwind, something like that, where you can schedule the content ahead of time, and then it just rolls out and auto schedules and auto posts. And actually, you can use Creator Studio within Facebook as well, and that will allow you to post on Facebook and Instagram simultaneously. But with a social media management client, there is no discernible return on investment. So what that means is you could post for every day, or 2, 3, 4 times a day if you wanted to. but there's no discernible result that's going to come from that. So you can't say, right, if I post 4 times a week for you, you're going to make £100 back. It just doesn't work like that. Although social media management is a fantastic way of creating brand identity, brand loyalty, a bit of social proof, and obviously it shows that you're a real functioning business, it doesn't come with a price tag attached to it in terms of, you can't put 4 posts in and get $100 out. It just doesn't work that way. The only way you can really track a convenience offer is if you're using discount codes, ambassador codes, anything like that, that you are only using for social media, for instance. So if you're going to have a discount code or, £5 off or, 5% off, 10% off, anything like that, and then use something like Social May or, May 40 or something like that, that's if you're only using that on that social channel, chances are it's going to come from, people who would have found it from the social media. But still, again, there is no metrics to say this is what we did and this is what we made because we posted on your social platforms. Whereas with things like what we got Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google PPC, email marketing. These are all things that you can say that actually have analytics attached to them. We'll come back and say, right, so you've spent £100 and we've made you £5,000 back. So for every pound you're putting in, you're getting 5 back. That, or 50 back in that instance. But that's a results-driven offer because you can track it. You'll have Google Analytics, you've got Facebook Analytics, you've got a Facebook Pixel. These are all data-driven, services that you can actually say, look, this is the value that we bring you. So we are going to charge you £2,000 a month, but it's because we can generate you £50,000 a month with X amount of ad spend. So you can actually track the numbers effectively and then obviously provide that in a report to your client at the end of each month. So when it comes to pricing your services for a results-driven service, on average, the way that I like to do it is it should be 10% of the amount of value that you think you can bring them back. So if you think you can make your client £10,000, then charge them £1,000. If you think you can make them £50,000, then charge them £5,000. So no one should be charging less than £1,000 a month. And ideally, you don't want to be dealing with businesses that aren't generating around £10,000 a month anyways. That's just because they're not going to be able to afford your services. And it just puts you in a bit of a sticky position because, as you'll probably find out, dealing with brands that have a lower ad budget tend to be obviously more protective of that budget because they're on a smaller budget. So working with them will become more work and it will be something that really is a drain on your time and resources for something that's not going to provide you with very much value in return. So with a convenience offer, you can charge anything you want, really. I mean, you can do it based on posts. You can do it based on platforms, how many times a day you're posting, whether it's, curated content for each particular platform, for instance, rather than long form copy, cut up into little bits of micro content and distributed around. But the real value is going to be in obviously the results driven service. But with something like with social media management, it isn't unheard of to be charging $500 a month for 20 posts a month if you are creating that content and then obviously writing the captions and then obviously scheduling it as well. So I wouldn't go below $500 a month just because the amount of time it's going to take you to make a month's worth of content is going to be quite high. And then you don't effectively, if you did break it down into hourly rate, you don't want to be going into like $5 an hour because you might as well get a day job. It doesn't benefit you in any way because, again, you're going to be trading your time for money because the convenience offer is effectively a drain on your time resource because you have to spend that time creating that content. Alternatively, what you could do is you could get a contractor in who does content creation. So hire a social media manager for your agency, and then whatever they charge, if it's $300 a month, you can add your margin on top and then obviously charge that as well. So talking about profit margins, there is another way of you looking at doing pricing for your agency. Now, what you could effectively do is decide, right, I want to make a 75% profit on any service that I provide. So what you would do is you would find out how much the cost of service delivery is So for instance, if it's £500, you want to add a 75% margin on top of that. That means your base retainer as a minimum needs to be £2,000 a month. So you can then make sure that you maintain that 75% margin throughout all of your services, which will give you a very healthy profit margin at the end of the year. But that's just another way of looking at it. So you take, if you've got a contractor on board, or if you've got an in-house team, find out the base amount for the services to be delivered, add your margin on top, and then that will be your base retainer. It's not an exact science, and there are going to be some different stipulations. There are going to be some different times where, you have to create a bespoke quote. But this is just something to think of, and it'll give you a bottom line so that you can start to forecast your revenue, which is also very helpful for obviously like managing the books and stuff. But thank you so much for watching, guys. If you found this helpful, drop me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you do it a different way, let me know in the comments below how you price for your agency. Before I sign off, I just want to say thank you once again. And remember to hit that subscribe button and drop me a like as well, because I will be putting out more content every week. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Commas over bullshit. Yeah, I put that on mamas. They tryna block all my blessings. They thought I lost.